nation's best loved chefs are hitting the road
This is not Italy!
to compete in some traditional country shows.
And I'm hoping to win one of those rosettes.
On the way, they'll meet some of Britain's best local food producers.
Why would you ever eat a cupcake when you have parking?
Before competing head-to-head with each other.
It's only a competition!
And the great British public.
I thought the competition was big enough.
Our chefs are at the mercy of the harshest food critics in the land, the beady-eyed country show judges.
We don't like odd ones.
It's a competition and I'm taking it very seriously.
Hold on to your aprons, it's Country Show Cook-Off. This week, top chefs Theo, Randall and Rachel Allen hit the tarmac to compete in the most traditional country shows in the land.
These guys know the judges really well. They know exactly what they want. So being outsiders, we could be in trouble.
They'll be devising dishes for a variety of strict show cooking categories on a route that stretches from the west of Scotland to Ludlow in Shropshire. The beautiful island of Bute nestles off the west coast of Scotland and is known as the Jewel in the Clyde. The picturesque town of Rossi makes this a tourist hotspot, and farming and food production are big. The nation's best loved chefs are hitting the road
This is not Italy!
to compete in some traditional country shows.
And I'm hoping to win one of those rosettes.
On the way, they'll meet some of Britain's best local food producers.
Why would you ever eat a cupcake when you have parking?
Before competing head-to-head with each other.
It's only a competition! It's only a show!
And the great British public.
I thought the competition was big enough.
Our chefs are at the mercy of the harshest food critics in the land, the beady-eyed country show judges.
We don't like odd ones.
It's a competition and I'm taking it very seriously.
Hold on to your aprons, it's Country Show Cook-Off. This week, top chefs Theo, Randall and Rachel Allen hit the tarmac to compete in the most traditional country shows in the land.
These guys know the judges really well. They know exactly what they want. So being outsiders, we could be in trouble.
They'll be devising dishes for a variety of strict show cooking categories on a route that stretches from the west of Scotland to Ludlow in Shropshire. The beautiful island of Bute nestles off the west coast of Scotland and is known as the Jewel in the Clyde. The picturesque town of Rossi makes this a tourist hotspot, and farming and food production are big business. Theo and Rachel are visiting a country show that's dear to the hearts of an island people.
We come every year. My young niece is a Highland dancer. I have to say, she's very good.
Bute Agricultural Society Summer Show began life in 1806 when local farmers met for ploughing competitions. Competitive produce categories have been a key feature of show life since 1825.
I won the cup twice.
Thank you.
Our chefs will enter Class 8 in the domestic section Quiche, own choice, under the close scrutiny of Judge Mrs. McLachlan, professional baker and veteran country show prize winner.
Well, this is syllabus for the show, and it states what they want, how they want it presented usually. When you're looking at your presentation, you're looking at your texture. Taste is a big thing. How does it taste?
They'll be up against the best bakers of Bute, accomplished home cooks with years of show experience.
But this is quite a tricky show. A lot of people have been baking for years. There's high standards.
It's going to be one heck of a foodie face-off.
Oh, my finger went through it.
Get out of it!
Theo's passion for food began as a child on holiday in Italy. As a chef, he won a Michelin star for the groundbreaking River Cafe in London, before opening up his own restaurant in the capital's swanky Mayfair, recently judged Italian Restaurant of the Year.
I'm a winner.
Professional cook Rachel Allen is a teacher at the prestigious Ballymaloe Cookery School in Ireland and a best-selling culinary author. Mother of three, Rachel is passionate about creating simple yet delicious family recipes.
Oh, that's really quite nice.
Later, our two cooking colossi will square up at the Country Show Cook-Off, where the winner takes all in the quiche category. Before they leave the mainland and catch a ferry to beautiful Bute, they've just got time to visit a food destination which has really put the area on the seafood map. Loch Fyne saltwater depths have drawn local fishermen for hundreds of years, and now these shores play host to a seafood business, Loch Fyne Oysters. First set up in 1978, the company ships its seafood to customers around the globe. Up to 500,000 Pacific or rock oysters are grown each year in the clear waters of Loch Fyne. Oyster farm manager Andre Hughes is a keen cook, often to be found in the staff kitchen, knocking up a feast for colleagues.
So this is our oyster beds here, and this is how we grow all of our oysters at the moment. They're grown in trestles, as you can see, just about half a metre off the ground.
It's funny, there's not actually that many oysters in each bag. I mean,
no, you've got to allow for growth, and you've got to allow for the water to get through the bag. You don't want the oysters pressed tight together, or then they won't be able to open and filter feed. You want to give them plenty of room, so there's plenty of room for them feeding as well.
And do you love eating oysters yourself?
Oh, I absolutely adore oysters, yeah.
What do you like doing with them?
My favourite way is just as they are. We wouldn't even put lemon juice, I wouldn't even put Tabasco sauce. I just think the natural taste of the oyster is so good that it doesn't need anything else really. At our busy times, we'll talk Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, about 80. Valentine's Day, yeah, about 80,000 a week. So they say, yeah. I've got 8 children.
I'll have what he's having. Time to see if Andre's appeal rubs off in the kitchen.
Now, the way we'd open an oyster is you've got the round bit there, little pointed hinge. Now what you would do is hold the oyster nice and steady and go down with the knife. Don't go across with the knife or you'll go in your hand, which I have managed to do before. But if you just go down, once it's in the oyster, just give it a little twist and then just work under. Now then what you would do is you would then go round the underside of the oyster. You just loosen that off and then that's oyster's good to go then.
Can I
yeah, of course you can, yeah, there's plenty. Yeah, we're 20,000.
40,000.
Yeah.
Yum. Oh, lovely.
Goodness, is it getting hot in there?
Thanks very much.
Just test that bit to make sure it's okay. Oh, yum.
Oh, cold shower for Rachel. Right, enough tasting and on with the cooking. You've a ferry to catch, and Andre is looking to impress with his tempura oyster dish.
The important thing with making a tempura batter is having ice cold water, getting the water as cold as you can possibly have. That's what makes the batter nice and crispy. And then just a case of adding the water a little at a time.
Are you the cook at home?
I do a lot of cooking at home, yeah. I absolutely love cooking.
So what are you looking for?
I just want it just to coat the back, probably just a little bit thinner. What I'm just going to do is just add a little bit of lemon juice to that as well. Yeah, and that's more or less good to go. I've preheated some oil here. The oysters there, I've just shucked them and just put them on absorbent paper just to take any excess liquid off them.
You're a very natural cook. You've got a lovely way about you.
Would you take them on in your kitchen, Theo?
I think I might do.
The thing about this is don't try and do too many oysters at the same time. Because if you do, it'll cool down the fat, and then you'll end up with a soggy batter instead of a nice crispy batter. They'll probably take not long, about 2 or 3 minutes, and that'll be them good to go. They're just about ready now.
Ah, serve with a simple chili dipping sauce and scoff.
Thank you.
Andre, thank you so much. It's absolutely delicious. It's been really, really fun.
Glad you enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely delicious. Thank you very much.
Really good.
Right.
I can't stop eating them. I've got to stop now.
Yeah, enough eating and more cooking. It's time for our chefs to focus on the quiche category for the country show ahead.
Judges are going to be looking for something quite traditional, I think.
That's exactly what I thought.
I've kind of done the kind of traditional route of a quiche d'oreille.
Me too.
Yeah. And I think, you'll win on the quality of the pastry and how it tastes, and not so much about the quirkiness, more about, what the true flavours are.
Exactly. There's no point trying to reinvent the wheel.
Let's hope the judge doesn't mark them down for their lack of adventure. Although the Isle of Bute is only 5 miles across, it's stuffed with beautiful locations, ideal for our chef's alfresco kitchen. But you've got to go somewhere, so our chefs established camp near the magnificent Gothic towers of Mount Stuart House.
This is okay, isn't it?
Nice. This vintage van contains a dinky kitchen with everything a chef could want.
Ta-da!
Great. Oh, fabulous.
This splendid ancestral home hides a bountiful kitchen garden packed with ingredients so fresh they're still growing.
So the category is quiche own choice.
Now, what is the prize
For the,
if we win? Prize money, first £1,
Okay.
second prize 75p, and third prize 50p.
What are you going to do with your money if you win?
I'll put it towards a nice Scotch whisky to have at the end of the day. What are you going to do with your money?
Well, we could club together and share one.
A bit previous. You've got to win first.
When I was about 10, I entered into the Sutton Mandeville horticultural show, the flower show. And me, my dad and my grandfather all entered into the apple pie competition. And I won. I came first, my dad came third, and my grandfather came last. I'm a winner.
Apple pie, schmapple pie. This quiche gig is all about eggs, Theo, not apples. Come on, chefs, less chatting, more chopping. Time to get cooking. Theo needs to produce something very special out of his chef's hat today, if he's going to beat Master Baker, Rachel.
Now, the secret of a good quiche Lorraine is the pastry. The pastry has to be really kind of crisp and dry. We've got some plain flour here, so we're just going to put it into a large bowl. And then we've got some unsalted butter. Just using your fingertips and just sort of break up the butter so it just sort of breaks into little pieces. Then just salt and then break an egg. Add that. And just bring it all together. Add that. It is a really lovely short crust pastry in cling film. If you don't wrap it in cling film and you put it in the fridge will evaporate the moisture and you end up with really sort of dry pastry.
Theo pops the pastry in the fridge to cool.
So we're just going to get some flour. And I don't like these things. We'll get some flour, put it on top, and then we're just going to make sure there's enough flour on the board. And then using our rolling pin, we'll just start rolling it gently, just to start ourselves off. Just keep turning it around so we keep that round shape. Be quite forceful.
Uh-oh.
The pastry's gone, it's just gone too dry.
Looks like Theo's pastry hasn't come up to scratch. Oh dear. As Theo goes off to contemplate his problem pastry, Rachel's keen to get cracking in our camp kitchen with her version of a classic quiche.
I want to have the short crust pastry really lovely and short and crumbly. Short means that it's crumbly, buttery, delicious. So just over half the amount of butter to flour. Wow, this is quite amazing. The smell of the sea air. I don't often get to make short crust pastry in front of a neo-Gothic house on Bute. So once it comes together, stop kneading it and flatten it out, because if I flatten it out a bit, then it's going to chill faster than if it's in one big bowl.
Rachel's left her pastry to chill for half an hour.
This is a good tip. If your pastry is lovely and chilled, you can roll it out between 2 sheets of cling film. You don't have to add extra flour, so you're keeping the flour-butter ratio just as it was when you made the pastry. So roll out the pastry, and you see when you've got it covered in cling film on both sides, you can just toss it over like this. It's not going to stick to the worktop or to your rolling pin. I feel there should be a little string quartet playing in the background. It'd be quite fitting. It's okay, one more roll just for luck. And now, time to line the tin. Take off the top layer of cling film, and then lift it up from under the cling film. And you see, this way is really easy. Then you just tip it into the tin, and now just push it into the edges. And now I can remove the cling film and cut the pastry to fit.